Did you know that human beings make 35,000 decisions per day? And it ranges from simple to complex. Like, what do I have to have for my breakfast? Is it tea, coffee, milk? Which color dress should I wear? Is it red, black, purple? Or complex decisions like, should I stay in this relationship or not? Should I buy this house or the other one? Should I choose to stay in this work or quit? Should I buy this course or the other one? It goes on forever. The problem is, it is only going to take us a lot of days, weeks, months before we could arrive at that one perfect decision. And in the meantime, we end up spending our days in that thick, psychological, cloudy feeling, endlessly pondering, do I or don't I? And in the process, we only are making ourselves more anxious, more stressful. So, what is the solution for all these dilemmas? How are we going to resolve that conflicts, constant conflicts in us? You're watching EQ Hack series to improve your emotional intelligence. My name is Brinda Kalyan Raman. I'm the founder of EQ business model for women to achieve freedom out of stress, time and debts using emotional intelligence and digital entrepreneurships as tool. So in the previous episodes, we have discussed umpty number of tools, concepts to help you make aware of those uncomfortable feeling, simple and complex, how to label them, how to break into a simple process where you are able to identify those patterns, hot buttons, those triggers even before they could explode. And we also saw how to maintain that optimistic outlook towards life to help you create a lot of options. Because when you see the larger perspective with some sense of hope and wisdom, you're able to create a lot of options for you to make a effective decision. Because without options, you are making only a compulsive decisions for you to act on it. And we also saw some tools which will help you navigate from being stuck to be internally driven using internal motivators. And we are right now in the process of defining your core values. How do you connect your goals, your life domains with values? How to re-establish just in case you find them in conflict? And how do you resolve that conflict? In the very previous episode, we saw what could be the confusion and how do you clarify between values, goals, and life domains. In this episode, we will further see how to resolve those conflicts and dilemmas occurring in you using the differences that we have understood from the previous episodes about distinctions between values, life domains, and goals. It is very important to know this distinction before we could arrive at any conclusion. I would highly recommend you to quickly go and watch the previous episodes, the recent previous ones, so that you'll be able to connect with what we are talking about. You need to also understand values are deciding factors for you to make decisions, to understand what is good, bad, what is rational, irrational, fair and not fair. Values need not be a conscious process because it is already ingrained in you. It is formed from the way you are being brought up, from your family, your tradition, your culture, your associations, your education, your network, but they do drive most of your decisions you make. The reason of the conflict in values is very hard to resolve because they cannot be traded or given away. They can neither be neglected nor denied. You remember we spoke of the example of globe where value A is considered as one continent and value B is considered as another. It is only going to appear. It is standing in line to come in front of you. If you deny this, anyway the other one comes and this one also will follow the pursuit. You anyway have to encounter them. That is why it is important to address them both in your actions and inactions. And you should also understand it cannot be traded or given away or compromised. Because if the dispute is over, let's say over money or asset, it can be resolved by giving more money and giving more asset. But if the issue is going to be over values like freedom and security, it cannot be traded, right? For example, wearing a seat belt. One cannot say that it is obstructing my freedom, individual freedom, versus considering the public safety, the safety not just for you, the safety for others around you. And it is also a common conflict we all go through as a parent where we would like to give that freedom to our children. We would want them to be creative, explorative, but then we also want them to be little careful about their physical security. It's like asking the child to climb up the tree, to explore, to be, displaying the braveness in them. But at the same time, you want them to be very careful. So it goes hand in hand. And if you understand this simple example, you will see that it is not just with your domains, there is a conflict in your domains. It is also, there is a conflict in your values. Most difficult decisions are the choices that you give weightage to one value versus another one. In the previous example, we saw how putting a seat belt is important not just for the individual, it is also for the people around them, the individual freedom versus the public safety. So, deciding which one should have more weightage according to the situation is going to be a little difficult task. Many of the conflicts between couples also occur due to this kind of decision making challenges. Many fights over raising children or spending more money or any relationship topics are real arguments over values. For example, a husband by nature seeks freedom as top value. A wife by nature seeks security. And the reason why those conflicts, those arguments turn into nasty arguments is because when they discuss a problem, they focus on people centric instead of problem centric. This is why many conflicts turn into nasty arguments, not just within family, also in organization. In fact, most of the organization also are promoting healthy conflict among their employees. They see this as an opportunity to display their willingness to disagree, even passionately more whenever there is a need to make important decisions. Their behavior experts and leadership see this as an opportunity to display high degree of trust between those two individuals. And it is also beneficial if you have a defined core values. It is so very true when it is two individuals coming together to lead a life. And if you have a core value established in you with that of your spouse, you will see how this relationship is going to work without friction. And that's why we saw in the previous episode how to be driven within you using the value system, how to establish your value, how to connect your values with that of your goals and domains of life, how to re-establish, that is to clarify whether this value is what is important to you. Now that you know the importance of it, now we will quickly see what are the steps to resolve a conflict whenever it arises. Remember, there is no perfect solution to it. It is only based on your experiment, based on your exploration about each and every tool that has been discussed here, based on the feedback that you get during the process. You are going to establish what's the best working for you. And it may not be so true with the other person. They will have to go through the same journey as you are going through. Only then you will arrive at a point of convergence. Now we will see, despite being aligned with your value, your goals and domains of life, you know exactly how much time and energy you're spending, you're still not able to achieve your goals. The one reason could be two values are still in conflict. So the best thing that you can do is that first, ignore it. Some conflict can be very small and trivial. It's almost irrelevant. Any attempt to address it could only blow up the problem more. In which case, simple way is to ignore it. For example, shipment arriving 20 minutes later than you expected, and no one seems to be making a fuss about it or concerned about it. Just ignore it. Next step is to address it. Many times, many conflicts are to be resolved if you are able to simply address them directly, whether it is family, work, or business. Value conflict occurs because the decisions are made and actions taken with a compromise with that of a stated value. So, having meaningful conversations, respectful decisions with impacted people will be the best tool to resolve it. Sincere apologizing in case of missed promised delivery date, or you missed to make a plan for your wedding anniversary by explaining the steps that you have taken to fix the situation, and also what are the steps that you're going to do to prevent them happening again. Especially when it comes to relationship, it is very important to fix it and also reassure that it won't happen again. The next step is to become objective. Sometimes the conflict becoming complicated than we imagined of or involve multiple parties that we originally considered. In which case it is turning to become a healthy conflict where you will stay in the process of finding a solution even if the discussions are getting heated up. It is best to follow a process where you will stay focused only in the problem, not on the people involved. It can create a lot of possibilities to uncover creative solutions and find a harmony. The next step is to mediate through it. Sometimes conflict could go serious and requires drastic action. It could also involve financial repercussions. At other times, it could involve a play of ego coming on their way. It could also be yours. Resolving such conflicts requires a strong mediator who can listen well, ask thoughtful questions, be able to influence others to compromise, and be able to arrive at a best possible solution. There are two other popular ways that people choose to deal with conflict, neither of which is useful nor effective. I thought you should know this. The first is denying it. The fear of conflict causing people to avoid dealing with it. Instead, they hope if they continue to deny it, it will eventually go off. But usually, this behavior is actually making the problem worse. It is only going to create a bigger problem than it was originally. The other one is fight it. The other side of fear of conflict is that the idea, if you can attack it, you're going to kill it. But the conflict can't be simply stamped out like that, right? It's called bullying. Even if you think the conflict is dead, issue remains, waiting to be addressed. So what are the other ways that you can resolve value conflict? Be it in parenting, relationship, or at business or at work. I would be happy to know what are your thoughts on it. Continue to watch the future episodes because we are going to dwell on more interesting factors which is going to help you improve your emotional intelligence. Subscribe to this channel in case you haven't yet. Press the like button to show your love and support. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.